If I was white and a racist, I have to be in the Ku Klux Reserves, you know. Come in on the Saturday, put some hate in. Yeah, and as a black person, man, not only do you have to deal with the Ku Klux Klan in the United States, but you also have to deal with skinheads. And they scare me worse than the Klan. Because they don't like blacks so much, they cut off their damn hair. What type of reasoning is that, man? Like, man, I cannot stand black people. Get my clippers. Thank you. I feel much better. All that hair was keeping my hate down, man. I like my hate to be aerodynamic.
Naturally, when you're 13, 14, whatever, you're not a person yet. So you're kind of a monster. And it wasn't long before I came home reading Craigslist every day before I decided to get involved. And so I started just like starting these correspondence with people, you know, like on misconnections or what. I'd pretend to be the person that they had the conversation. So I was like, yeah, baby, I got one eyebrow and the other one coming in, you know? And I was doing it every day for like months. And then some people, I would give myself away by being too into it and they know it wasn't the person and they wouldn't respond. But other people, we get like a long correspondence for a while. And I remember one day I was, just sitting at the computer, just really excited to get into it. It was just a Tuesday and I didn't have anything else to do. And this was a 2-hour window day, not a 1-hour window. And so on this particular day, I was just scrolling through all of Craigslist and I saw that there was an ad. The ad just read, "Join the KKK." Question mark. And so naturally I was like, dope. And so I started a correspondence with this dude named Dale. And like, I felt kind of bad because like, if you're hurting that bad in 2004 for recruitments that you need a Craigslist ad, then we must be making progress. Like, you know, the world's getting better. And so I talked to Dale a little bit, just emailing back and forth. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm white. You want to chill sometime and talk? And by chill, I don't mean the way black people use chill. I mean actually go somewhere cold and hang out together as friends. And to my surprise, the next day, I had an email from Dale that was like, hey, great to meet you. You seem like a cool guy. And all of our correspondence for the first couple days was like the most basic, just like, oh man, you like Star Wars too? So do I as well. Like I couldn't be natural on the thing. Like I was so nervous every time I typed. But then once we really got like a rapport built up, he was like, we should meet. I want you to meet the brothers. And I was like, that sounds great. And I grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana, which if you've never been there, don't know what it is, you're doing fine. So I guess you don't need to. But there's this bar called Finnegan's. And I was like, hey, Dale, look, just meet me at Finnegan's and we'll sit down, we'll have a chat and everything. And then if you really like me, you can introduce me and the other brothers and we can all be a family. And so the next day comes, and naturally I don't show up. I don't want to die. I was never gonna. It's like, that'd be insane. No. But he hits me up the next day after school, and I should point out that like for 2 weeks, I was running home mainly to talk to Dale. I wasn't even reading Craigslist anymore. I had 6 friends, and Dale was one of my best ones. But I came home the other day, and he was like, "Hey, I went to Finnegan's and I waited on you, and you didn't come, man. Why would you stand me up like that?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry." And so I came up with an excuse, and this is like, you know, we're talking 2004. We're talking before like everybody had a cell phone, you know. So it's like some people still, you know, didn't have a cell phone, and they made plans and they went out and they did them, you know. And so if there was a hiccup, you just had to roll with it because you couldn't just text someone like, "Hey, I'm totally not going to abide by the plan now. I've chosen a different plan. I'm letting you know now." So for a week, I just like kept getting Dale to eat and shop alone. Like, and each time I had a great excuse. Like each time I was like, "Oh, my mom fell," and like I just had to be there with her and everything. And every day he understood, and he was like, "You know what? You did the right thing, brother," you know? And I remember one day especially, he was particularly upset because he had come home, emailed me that evening, but I didn't see it till the next day. And he was like, "You never came to Target. I was in Target by myself for 3 hours. I bought a popcorn maker. I don't even need a popcorn maker. I was just in Target by myself and bored, and I was waiting on you. Now I got a popcorn maker in front of me. And what are you going to do about this popcorn maker?" And I was like, "Bruh, I'm so sorry." And by bruh, I do mean shorthand for brother, not the way that black people use it. I'm so sorry. I just... you know, my girlfriend, she tripped. And it was always women falling. Like, I'm surprised that he never caught on. Every time it was like, "Oh yeah, my great aunt just hit a stair." Or like just the worst lies. That's a 14-year-old idiot. And even now, I'm like, wow, like, I was alone with a computer, and I just catfished the Klan.
I once did a show where 2 members of the KKK showed up. Yeah. I didn't know they were coming ahead of time. It's not like I was hosting their awards banquet. Like, "And the award for the whitest sheet goes to," like, you know. And by the way, I respect the KKK more than these dumb motherfuckers this weekend, because they at least tried to hide their face. These motherfuckers are so stupid. They're walking around being like, "It's about white nationalism," and they're holding a fucking Polynesian torch, eating pizza, driving a fucking Japanese car. And I'm like, you guys are fucking idiots. All of you are idiots. But these assholes of the KKK are not much better. And so, I say that as if they're different people. But anyway, they're the old school ones. And so, they start telling us jokes, and by jokes, I mean racist theories. Like, they straight up were like, "You know who we don't like?" And we're like, "Who?" And they're like, "Black people." And we're like, "Uh-oh." And my friends start laughing, but they're not laughing the way of like, "Hey, this is really funny." They're laughing the way of like, "Can you believe this is where we're gonna die?" You know, like it's like a sadder laugh, like it's a So these guys take this as validation, and they show us they are card-carrying members of the KKK. Did you know there were membership cards? I didn't know there were membership cards. Why do you need a membership card for an anonymous organization? Why do you... Like, don't look at my face. Here's my face. Like, why do you have that? What, do you get 10% off the dry cleaner? Like, what's the point of that card? Because you got to figure, they're doing laundry all the time. White sheets in the woods, that gets dirty. Like, you got to figure, their whole life is like hatred, laundry, laundry, hatred. They probably hate doing laundry at this point, you know? They're just like, always separating the whites from the colors. You know, that's their whole life. They're like, these colors don't run. Well, some of them do, but we get them. Anyway, so I've got to deal with these yokels, and a lot of my comedy is like progressive politics and being a Jewish person. Which, by the way, everybody's so surprised that they're Nazis. We've been warning you since before Indiana Jones, all right? We knew about this shit. So, and by the way, are there any other Jews in the room? Do we have any other Jews in the room? We got one here, imported from Oregon. We got one. Do you see how meekly he raised his hand? Because we're a quiet people. Because last time someone tried to round up all the Jews in the room, some shit went down. So anyway, we learned our lesson. We keep kind of quiet. So back me up on this one, Jew. Jews have two very important traditions. One is pride in who we are and where we're from. The other, slightly more important, is survival. That's the one that won that day. Because I went on stage and I did an hour of the hackiest, most bullshit. Just like, men and women are different, and so are cats and dogs, and airplanes have the tiniest peanuts for like an hour. And finally, I finish, and I go to leave, and I'm like, they're probably not gonna buy any albums after this one. So I gather my stuff, and I go to leave, and the KKK has blocked my one exit. You guys have had that happen? You had that happen to you? Yeah? Just me? Yeah. It was my one exit, because this was a second-story venue. It's not like I could have shimmied out the bathroom window. It's not like I don't tour with a rope. They probably had one, but like I didn't have one. So I just had to walk toward them. And with every step, I'm getting more and more terrified for my life, and I finally get right up to them, and one of them goes, "Hey!" Which is the mating call of the KKK. I was like, yes? And he goes, "You was funny as shit." I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, my God. Can I put that on my website? That would be kind of... I'd lose a lot of gigs, but how funny would that be? "You was funny as shit, the KKK." Like, how great would that be?
I can't think of anything dumber or more porn would have been better. Porn would have been normal. You thought you were about to hear a story about porn. And instead, it just took a wild turn. And then finally, after I think it was a week and a half, he was very resilient. They must be hurting for numbers, because after a week and a half, he was finally like, "Okay, you know what? Ball's in my court now. I'm gonna set a time. I'm gonna set a place. And if you don't come, then don't ever talk to me again." And I was like, fair enough, okay? You've been so patient with me. I really just want to be part of the brotherhood. Just let me know where I need to be. And then he picked Finnegan's again. There's not that many places to go in my town. And naturally, I didn't show up. I didn't hear from him again. And I've noticed this trend online that's kind of disheartening, where like now people are being called racist, but for like nothing. Like, actually, not, like, I'm petty, so I'll read the whole thread. And I finish the entire thread, I'm like, oh, that was it? I don't even think that's a thing, you know? Like, oh, you said this, you tweeted this one thing one time, you must be a racist. Or like, you voted this way, you must be a racist. You're a whole racist by a person who doesn't know you. And I'll tell you, as like a black dude that grew up in the South, I don't think you're racist until you go to your second Klan meeting, all right? Like... Look, because maybe the first one, maybe your buddy Dale's invited you to a barbecue, all right? Everybody loves barbecue, okay? You get there, there's delicious barbecue, there's dry rib, there's sloppy, it's all happening. You see somebody put on a white hood, you're like, I don't know, a costume barbecue, that's a little odd. But you just keep eating. There's corn on the cob, there's collard greens, there's brisket, there's pulled chicken, it's all delicious. And then there's a burning cross in front of you, and you're like, I'm already here. I say this because it happened to my friend Jordan, okay? He accidentally went to a Klan rally because without knowing what I was doing, my buddy Jordan, who was about 3 years older than me, actually met Dale. And got invited to a barbecue. Turns out Klan rallies don't just start, they ease you in with a barbecue. And he was like, I know what to do, I ate all the food, I can't miss the meeting. So he stayed for the entire Klan rally and went home immediately, called me, I came over, we talked about it. Turns out a Klan rally is exactly the thing a Klan rally is like. There were no spoilers. but just past his head in the kitchen, I could see a to-go plate. And I was like, Jordan, are those Klan ribs? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, can I have some? And it hurts me as a black dude that grew up in the South to say that the Klan makes the best ribs. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what kind of rub that is. Who would have known that you can't taste racism? It's delicious. Okay? It was to the point where I was like, I think you need to join. I need these every Sunday. These are amazing, guys.
I did just graduate college in May. Thank you, yeah. I do miss college a lot. I miss one class in particular that I took. I took a psychology of disgust class. So we learned about elements of disgust. We had one unit on white supremacy. So for this unit, we had to buy the Klansman, which for those of you who don't know, is the KKK manifesto. It's kind of like the handbook on how to be racist, right? So my professor informed us that there are two places you can buy the Klansman. The first one is the KKK, and the second is the University of Arkansas. Which in terms of racism is only like a step up from the KKK. Now here's the thing, the KKK's version was a little bit cheaper. So I emailed the University of Arkansas and I was like, hey, I'm a student, I'm poor, I can't afford this, would you be able to send it to me free of charge? And they were like, no, sorry, the proceeds from this go to our classics and history department, so you'd have to buy it. So I emailed the KKK. Do you guys want to hear that email? Yeah. I said, Dear KKK HR department, my name is Abby Gale. And I'm a nice white woman at the University of Arkansas. I'm dabbling in white supremacy, but have very little money because of Obama. Would you kindly send me the Klansman? Yours, Abigail. And a few weeks later, I got a response from them. It said, Dearest Abigail, it is so nice to see young girls engaging with their heritage. Attached, you'll find a full PDF of the Klansman free of charge. Yours, the KKK. And that's the story of the time I was so broke that I scammed the KKK out of $20. I sent a lot of really insane emails and letters in my time in college. My freshman year, I wrote a paper about the psychology of serial killers, so I decided to send a letter to Charles Manson. Does anyone know who Charles Manson is? Very prolific serial killer. So I looked up how to send letters to serial killers because I was nervous. And yeah. And apparently there is a set of rules. So the first rule is, believe it or not, there are a set of rules. The first rule is don't be abrasive because you might scare them off, right? Because there are things that scare a serial killer off. The second is don't include any defining features in case they escape and try to find you and murder you. And the third, which is my favorite, is be charming enough to flatter them, but not too charming to get put on an FBI watch list. So I wrote the letter. I said, Dear Charles Manson, my name is Abby. I have 2 eyes, a nose, and some hair. I'm a big fan, not huge, of your work. Would you kindly give me an interview? Lukewarm regards. Abby. And he never responded, but that's okay.
And they show us their membership cards to the KKK. Do you know there were membership cards? I didn't know there were membership cards. Your great-great-granddaddy was in it? That's not something to tell people. You came from Alabama to Indiana for the gold rush? I don't know. Just pretend. You don't have to tell. You don't have to be like, by the way, my great-grandfather would burn black people. Nice to meet you. You don't have to tell people that. It is weird, but that's your story. You can write a different one. You could be like, my great-great-grandfather was a silk trader from the Orient. He didn't know what it was in the first place. Oh, that's worse. It's worse because racist isn't hereditary, but stupid is.